All right. World Cup Digest, episode 7. We're back, bro, with the consistency. How you feeling?
Pretty damn good. We've now been doing this for a week straight.
Oh
And we're
man,
not.
I'm telling you, man. This World Cup following this World Cup has been exhausting, bro.
Yeah, man, it
So,
is. It's just
yo,
downpour after downpour of content.
I'm telling you, man, it's a good thing that next week I'm gonna have some free. Actually, the next 3 weeks I'm gonna have some free time until the final, and then I go back to work. Like I work next week, but I'm home alone, and then the following week I'm off for 2 straight weeks. So I have the time. You know what I mean, to do a lot of things. But look, let's talk. Let us talk. Let us start hot out the blocks and let us start with Group C. And then we finish off with Group D, where we do have two massive games today to talk about. Not to discount the other matches, but these games were big. Let's start with Group C, and let's start with a smaller game: Poland, Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Poland 2, Saudi Arabia nil. I predicted a 1-1 draw. I think you went with a draw too.
Yes, I did. I did. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the result?
I thought that Saudi Arabia did everything they needed to do except score. They threatened and they threatened. They kept skying all their efforts, and I think what undid them in the end, other than the mishap that led to Lewandowski's goal, was I didn't think they could match Poland in terms of physicality. I thought that that's where they were really lacking today on the pitch, and they suffered in that regard. Tactically speaking, I think for the most part they set up the way they needed to do. Um, they just couldn't they couldn't convert, and
Yeah.
they couldn't convert. And I think the real killer man was Lewandowski's
Yeah,
goal.
I think they did everything they needed to do, as you said, and I think Saudi Arabia played well because if we take a look at the stats, Saudi Arabia had 64% possession.
Yes, sir.
How often do you see this? How often do you see Saudi Arabia dominate games like this? And they had 16 shots, 5 on target. Chesney came up with a few massive saves as well. So let's not forget that. But the thing is, look, Saudi Arabia, I think, played well enough that they could have won the game, but things just didn't work in their favor, man. It's just one of those days because um they had that. Okay, Poland, they broke through. Lewandowski run to the byline, put it back for Zelensky, great finish. Okay, but immediately Saudi Arabia had an opportunity to equalize through the penalty, and Chesney came up with a massive save, double save as well.
Yeah.
Not even the penalty, okay, but the rebound that was going in, and Chesney saved it. So Chesney the hero, Lewandowski, of course, the hero as well for a goal and an assist. The mistake, I think, was just because Saudi Arabia they had to go for the game. They were 1-0 down, and it just got the better of them. Concentration just was lapsed for a second, and that was a horrible mistake to make on such a grand stage. And Lewandowski, he made amends for that penalty he actually missed against Mexico, and he scored. Poland top in the group right now.
Yeah, they are, and I'm glad that he scored. You could see how much it meant to him, the emotion in his face. It was like in that moment he was releasing so much like pent up anguish, really, and he was relieved. It was a good moment. It's great to see that in the World Cup, and I think for Saudi, like you said, like you continued, a bit of bad luck. I think lapse in
Yeah.
concentration, nerves at the back, the penalty. Um, it just didn't go their way today, even though they did almost everything they had to do. It just wasn't in the cards, and I mean they're still in contention. And even though they could be on 6 points now, I mean, as we'll get to Mexico later,
Yeah.
they can win that match. So
the pressure was actually in Saudi Arabia with the fact that they won their first game against Argentina? Do you think that there was like this expectation was piling on that they had to, put out a similar performance?
Yeah, a little bit, of course. But I thought that they dealt with that for the most part well. It's just I think again I put it down to misfortune above anything else because the way they played today, they very well could have gotten something out of this match. It wasn't like they put in a Qatar like performance, not to knock the home nation, but
That
I
is
think
true. That is indeed true.
I mean, yeah, there's always going to be nerves because when you take out a big giant like that, you have to follow it up with more results. Otherwise, people are going to look at what you did as a fluke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it
Um,
wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a fluke.
they played well. They played well, and you could see how frustrated Herve Renard was when they didn't capitalize on those chances that they had. They had a lot of chances, man.
Yeah,
So kudos to them. I'm not like mad that I predicted them to draw the game because Poland did not like Poland went out there and they put out a master class or it was a clinic of some sort. It wasn't. They just came up clutch in those key moments. You see, and that's what's very important. They grind out this result with less possession. Look at their passing stat. Poland, they were the team on the back foot throughout the match. You
for
know,
sure.
and
Yeah,
and what I realize is that's their coach's Michnovic style of play. He's not pretty. He
no,
just wants to punt the ball up the field, kick it out of play if you under pressure. You want to pass it out from the back. Nothing. It's just about, get the ball up. Once it could get Lewandowski in the game, Poland could do some damage. And that is exactly what happened on the day, especially when Saudi Arabia did not take their chances.
and it's proven to be effective. Poland is actually the only team that has played two match days so far in the entire World Cup that has not conceded a goal yet.
With that being said, Mexico have failed to score a goal.
Oh man,
So just wanted to add that. I don't want to rub it into Mexico or anything, but look, that's a nice little segue. We could go into details about the lineups and changes and so on and so forth that was made, but we're not gonna do any of that right about now. We get the gist of what happened. I actually wrote notes down, but I can't for some reason I just can't find my notes for this game. I don't know what it is. I just can't find the notes. I don't know. Oh yeah, I actually found the notes. I actually found the notes because I like to take notes during the game so I could have things to reference from. You know what I mean?
sure, yeah.
And yeah, I think it's very very important that you do that because there's so many times you miss big talking points in the game and all of that. But Saudi Arabia basically shot themselves in the foot today. But they have one game left against a Mexico team that have not looked so good so far this World Cup finals. So Saudi Arabia will be hoping that they could actually pick up a win against Mexico. It's going to be difficult. Mexico also could pick up a win against Saudi Arabia to keep their World Cup hopes alive. But then, the group is well poised. It is well poised. That's a fight to the death for Mexico and Saudi Arabia. Even a draw could help out Saudi Arabia if Argentina goes out and completely decimate Poland, which could actually happen with the form that Argentina just showed, right?
Yeah, it could happen, and we know. I think we more or less know how Poland's going to set up in that match. It's going to be interesting to see if they're going to lose. If they lose that match, which I think they most likely will, if they can keep it low scoring, so that the other teams in the group don't make up the deficit.
Yeah,
Um,
it's getting really dicey in this group because let's say that game Poland Argentina draw. Poland
they're
goes
through
through,
it, no matter what.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
And Argentina now would need Saudi Arabia to have a worse goal difference than they do. Let's take a look at the group, right? Look,
Yeah, Argentina's not safe at all.
exactly because goal difference they have one, Okay,
Hmm.
a draw would be a favorable result for them if Saudi Arabia draw because they have a decent goal difference, positive goal difference. So a draw would favor Argentina if Saudi Arabia and Mexico draw. But if Saudi Arabia wins, then Argentina absolutely must defeat Poland.
Which is why they're going to come into this match and seek to win. They're not going to be playing for a
Exactly.
at all.
And I think both these games are going to be on the same at the same time too, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh
And
boy.
that's Wednesday. What you say? He
I,
on?
I said, oh boy.
He on. He on. So they started doing this to
Oh my.
avoid the he on
Nice.
thing. 1982 World Cup, the collusion.
Clever.
That's to avoid collusion. So Wednesday at 2 p.m. Argentina, Poland, and Mexico, Saudi Arabia, which, we're going to segue nicely and we're going to get into this game. Let's talk about this game, man. It's a big game, last game of the day. And Argentina 2, Mexico nil. Bro, I had utmost confidence in what look. I had to take Messi's word for it, right? He said, okay, I know we messed up, we effed up, we gonna come back strong. Don't worry about it, we got it. And they did. Mexico, even though the game was more of a midfield type battle, because if you go and you check the stats really quick, 5 shots, 4 shots. You see that?
Yeah.
So it was basically a battle in the midfield. It was very physical, very feisty, very ugly. And Argentina came out on top because they created a better chances and they stole the big moments. And
Yeah.
when you go back and you look at the Messi goal, right? That was brilliant. How he scored that from that distance is,
And
unbelievable.
yep.
The reaction time, think about it. He hit it from a distance and Ochoa couldn't even react in time to get across because he was also blocked by a few of his defenders. But it just shows the quickness. And we talk about when you move the ball quick and you're slick, you're more successful. You know what I mean? And Angel Di Maria give him a lot of credit, lay that ball off to Messi, and Messi knew what he needed to do. Hit it in the back of the net because they weren't able to create any type of good chances against the Mexican team. You got to give Mexico a lot of credit too for keeping them quiet for so long. And before I forget, shout out to Andres Guardado. He had to come off. It brings up the question on whether Tata Martinez should have even started him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And Edson Alvarez should have been playing that game with his physicality, his youth, and everything.
Yep.
So Tata, former Argentinian manager himself, Argentinian native, he lost. He lost the battle on the day. And the Mexican fans are probably hating him right now. They want his neck. Pretty sure.
Well, first regarding Messi's goal, yeah, he hit it with such force. He kept it low. He knew what to do, and there was no hope for Ochoa getting even a hand to that. And regarding Guardado, you stole what I was just about to say. I was a little bit perplexed because even though I thought Guardado on the day was all right, I don't know. I don't know why he was on there. He cannot play. He cannot play for 90+ minute at that intensity,
Yeah.
at the same intensity that the match was being played at. And I feel like also Hector Herrera, he was starting to leave some holes in behind in the midfield right at the end of the first half. I thought maybe Tata would see this and that like Edson Alvarez would come on in for Herrera right at the beginning of the second, but that wasn't the case. And I don't know how he doesn't get any playing time at all today.
Yeah.
I thought he would have helped a lot.
He brought on Eric Gutierrez. But I think Tata also changed his setup at the back too, right?
He did.
Yeah, he played 5 at the back, which is ridiculous, and that's why they were so difficult to break down, but where there's a will, there's a way, man. And when you have skillful and magical players like Messi and Enzo Fernandez, a player that I've been talking about all season when I talk Champions League football for what Benfica have done, and they got into the round of 16, of course. And they've been one of the best teams in Europe so far this season, getting out of a group that had Juventus in there. You know what I mean? So, and this is no fluke thing. Enzo Fernandez has been in great form, and whoever picks him up, that's going to be a really good acquisition, man. you know, and he didn't start the game. So you got to give credit to Lionel Scaloni for making those substitutions. Julian
Mhm.
Alvarez, he made a few changes as well, but Messi and Enzo, they came up clutch. When they had the
Yeah,
opportunities, they buried them in the back of the net. And that was a skillful goal by Enzo Fernandez, man. I was like, damn,
he curled that
damn.
too.
Because you know what it was, though, to be honest? When I make a prediction, I want the prediction to happen, right? Because I feel like, man, I got it wrong again. And for some reason, it's nothing against Mexico or the fans or the players or anything. I just wanted Argentina to win because, guys, I predicted Argentina to win the damn World Cup. So if they were on 1 point or no points after two games, how that would have looked? You see what I'm saying?
Same here. Yeah, I
You
have them
know,
had them winning it
yeah.
too.
And I have to say, for a team that went 36 matches unbeaten to lose to Saudi Arabia, that was one of the most unexpected losses ever. But Herb Renard said it best. They underestimated Saudi Arabia, but when they knew that it's Mexico, they relished the battle even more because of numerous encounters in previous Copa Americas and so on and so forth. So and friendlies down there. Yeah, so they know Mexico, also another Spanish speaking country. Mexico wants to be like the South American nations as well. If you give Mexico a chance to join CONMEBOL tomorrow, they take it. They say, bye, CONCACAF. Thank you very much. We're gone. You know what I mean? They'll take it. Would they qualify from CONMEBOL? I don't think so. You see what I'm saying? But Argentina knew they had to play Mexico. They had to up their levels. And even though it took them until the second half to do so, 64th minute and 87th minute goal there. Messi also with the assist from the short corner. Argentina got the job done and they didn't let their fans down. But I have to say this, the job is not done. You don't want to do this and then play Poland and screw up.
Yeah, you don't want to do what Germany did last time around, lose their opener, come back, tease like they're going to like when they beat Sweden in that second game. Oh, Germany's turning things around, and then they go soft body in the last game. There's a lot to respond to there. First, regarding Enzo Fernandez. Yeah, I mean he was clutch today. I wouldn't be surprised if Scaloni gives him a starting spot in the next game. I think he's earned it, and he got a substitution spot on in a way that Tata did not. And there is a part of me that feels that Mexico, despite how limited they are, and some of the disagreements I had with the squad selections that Tata called up for this tournament, some of the exclusions, I feel like if they had kept up that same high flair approach from the first half, because they were having success in the first 20, 30 minutes. They were getting the crowd revved up. There was a very lively atmosphere. I think there were moments where they were dispossessing Messi down the middle of the stretch, and they were causing a lot of problems for McAllister. You might have noticed on that right hand side. And I thought, oh wow, Mexico is they're feeling this, they're getting into this. And as the game dragged on, I was thinking maybe this is going to head for a 0-0 or something. But with the substitutions that Argentina made, with the tactical change that Tata made, Argentina just grew into the game, and the pressure mounted. And it just took those two moments of brilliance. It took those two moments of brilliance from Messi and Fernandez. And, man, Mexico only have themselves to blame. And what's so unfortunate for them is that I can't help but feel like if this was a Juan Carlos Osorio type of team, from 2018, maybe they do get that goal on the counter. Maybe they do get something. They're just really, really struggling with finding that sort of poacher, I think, in front of net. Because there were moments in this match that Lozano was isolated, and there was 3-4 Argentines swarming him, and no other Mexican player up the field. I'm like, what the hell is this? And the last thing I want to say is this is the first World Cup in quite a few cycles I read where they didn't call up a single player from the under 23s. This is mostly Liga MX guys. They're not bringing in the youngsters, and I think it's looking like it's gonna cost them their round of 16 streak, and it's really unfortunate to see. And a lot of the issues go back to the federation, but I think Tata's tactics in this match were cowardly. I have nothing nice to say about it.
Yeah, no Linez. I was surprised when Linez wasn't called up. You know what I mean? He's a player that could come on and do some good things, But look, Tata has one match left. One for Mexico. That game against Saudi Arabia, after that, he's done. Remember, I told you that.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, I think, stand a very good chance of getting a result against Mexico. Because
sure.
Mexico does not know how to score any goals. They haven't scored any at the World Cup so far. And that's unlike a Mexican team. You see what I mean? And if it wasn't for Memo Ochoa in the opening game, they would have lost that game as well. Mexico, I think, had a good game plan. I think they were looking to grind out a draw here. And they almost pull it off. 1 hour of good football, failure to close Messi down. The second goal, why is there nobody over there closing down Messi and co, allowing them to pass the ball around so easily, allowing Enzo Fernandez to do his thing and open up his body and score like that? You see what I mean? So it doesn't look, Mexico are not getting into the next round like this. They're not.
And it doesn't help that they have a manager who apparently can't wait to leave.
Because the thing too, right, if we just go back, before we land the plane on Group C here, we take a look at the stats, right? Mexico currently have the worst goal difference in the group, right?
Yeah.
So even if they do go on to beat Saudi Arabia and go up to 4 points, are they going to have a better goal difference than Poland? I don't think so.
I don't think so, man.
If Poland lose 2-0, right? Poland lose 2-1 or 2-0 to Argentina, 1-0, Poland would be in the driver's seat. And then Mexico, Saudi Arabia, the way they're set up right now, are not losing heavily. I'm gonna say if they lose, they're not gonna lose by a big margin.
Yeah.
So and Saudi Arabia needs to win that game.
Yeah.
So right, and I don't. Let's wait and see what happens next week, though. But congratulations to Messi and Argentina. Remember, this is Messi's last chance to win a World Cup. He'll be about 38 and a half by the time the World Cup comes back around in 3.5 years' time. And yeah, bro, it's coming back in 3.5 years' time, not 4. So by the time you blink, it's here. And he wants this. He really wants this, but their destiny is in their own hands, and they're going to have to go out there against Poland and play very, very good. And they would want to go on to top the group, because if you don't top the group, then you have to play France in the round of 16, most likely.
Yep.
And you don't want that. You don't want the rematch. Maybe you do want the smoke. But you really don't want to play them yet. You want to avoid them. So you want to top the group so you avoid them in the next game. You see?
Yeah.
So look, you want to play most likely who's going to go through from France's group. We're going to get into that right about now. It could be Australia. It could be Denmark. You want to play Australia or Denmark. That's ideally who you want to play in the next round, 100%. And not France. So, yeah. So any closing thoughts on this group, this game?
Yeah, I think the second goal Mexico conceded what might be the killer, because I think at that point, once you're down 1-0, once Argentina are swarming you, you should start to think about goal difference. And that last one might have been like the one that kills them in the end. That's it.
All right. Nice. So we're going to move on to the next group, which is Group D. All right, let's start with this game. This is a massive result for Australia. Mitchell Duke in the 23rd minute to beat Tunisia 1-0. I have to say, I am very, very disappointed in Tunisia. After what we saw in the opening game against Denmark, We thought that Tunisia were gonna go out there and grind and shithouse their way to a little 1-0 win or something, and put themselves in a really good position to go up against France and maybe grind out a draw or an upset win, which is something they could still do. But would it be enough? I don't know if it will be enough. You see what I mean? So it's
Mm.
fair to say that with this result, Jalil Kadri and his boys are done for the World Cup.
Well, I tell you what, if we're looking at the standings, if they
Okay,
were to,
let's take a look at the standings.
yeah, let's say they beat France 1-0 somehow, right? For sake of
Mm,
argument, they're at a neutral goal differential with 4 points.
hmm
Australia would have to beat Denmark because if they draw, they're at 4 points with a negative goal differential because they got destroyed by France, and Denmark would be eliminated. So a 1-0 would actually do it for Tunisia. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah, that's not happening.
But
That is not happening, bro. The
yeah,
way Kylian Mbappe is playing right now, he is just, it's like his name is very symbolic right now. Kill. He's killing everything right now. I'm telling you. We should just call him Killy Mbappe. You see what I mean? Killy, because he's a killer right about now. I'm telling you, man. Look, I don't want to stay forever talking about this 1-0 win for Australia. You know what I mean? But we have to give him the respect still. Graham Arnold, he made a few changes is in some spots where there was a little bother. If we go and we take a look at the right back area, he took out the right back. What's his name there? Let me tell you his name. I think that was I can't remember. Was it Cummings?
I believe.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but I must admit I do not know the Australian team very well. I know a lot of the players, but I don't know the team very very well. And he made some good changes, I have to say, and they worked out. Harry Suter, oh
Yep.
man, he had a masterclass on the day at the bat there. They did better than they did against France. And Mr. Goodwin picked up an assist to add to the goal he got against France there too. So
Great
that
cross in the box.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great header by Mitch Duke, bro. I'm
Great
telling
assist
you.
and great header. Yeah.
The run that he made, he started a play and ran into the box. That was brilliant. That was indeed brilliant. And Tunisia were just impotent up top, man. M. Sackney had a look in. There was a big chance as well. And Australian defender put their bodies on the line. And you got to criticize Tunisia and ask why didn't Wabi Kazri start? Why you have Sassy on the bench? You know what I'm saying? Why you have players that you throw in your reliable players. You start Sassy, you start Wabi Kazri. Why didn't Hannibal Mejbri get a chance? I'm still trying to figure that out. Why isn't he getting a chance? Laidouni did not play anything like he did against
No.
Denmark. You know what I'm saying? Jebali didn't have a good game.
Neither did Drager. Drager was horrible.
Exactly. So in my opinion, this was a big game. This would have been a must-win game. Kazri had to start. You start Slitty, Skiri, Sassy, all of them. M. Sackney, you put out your best team. Mejbri, you put out your best team. You find a way to fit them in. I know it's maybe difficult to get all of them in, but you find a way to get your best players and your best team out there. Because I think this cost them a place in the round of 16 because that draw against Denmark was a huge result. And I never Australia are the sneaky suckers, I have to say. Because look at what they did in qualifiers. They were looking good, and then they came in third in their group, end up going through the playoffs, end up facing Peru. And I'm like, they can't beat Peru. They did.
Yeah.
They
By the
did.
skin of their teeth.
You know what I'm saying? So I won't count out. Listen, I won't count out Australia beating Denmark. I won't count it out. I won't. Or even getting something against Denmark. Let's just take a quick look at the standings again. Let's see if let's say they get a point against Denmark.
Then they're through unless Tunisia beats France.
Exactly.
They're in the driver's seat.
Denmark has 1 point. But to just talk a little bit about Denmark are that type of team that would make you think like, okay, we got 1 point. and then destroy Australia on the day and just go right through.
Yep.
Because you look back at the Euros, and that's exactly what Denmark did. They barely got through, and look at how far they got. And I have a feeling we could see a situation like that happening again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be surprising. All these groups are very delicately poised, man. It is hard. It is so hard to call. Australia, by far you'd rather be Australia right now, but on paper, Denmark are the better team.
Yeah,
and they just need to win by any margin to go over Australia. And I mean, you wouldn't put money on Tunisia, but they benefit from the fact that a goal win by any margin puts them ahead against France. I mean,
yeah, but they're not beating France, bro. I'm telling you, man.
all I'll say is it's a derby, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but France on something else. France on steroids right now. France on steroids right now. Remember 2018, the baby stepped their way to winning the World Cup. And there was a few moments where they had to really up, like against Argentina when they were down and they came back.
Yep.
And the game against Croatia, high scoring game. This France ain't playing around. They're not playing around at all.
And just imagine now if they had Conte and Pogba and Benzema.
Bro, I was thinking the same thing. I was sitting here and I was like, God damn, imagine if they had Conte running around, stealing the ball from everybody. If they had Pogba to spray those balls diagonal, put on those through balls. And, Pogba for France is like Pogba back in his early Juventus days. Mm-hmm. And if they had Benzema up there, Benzema is a clutch player as well. I know Giroud did well, but he was absent today. But look, with that being said, though, big result for Australia. Got to give them a lot of credit. Their destiny is definitely in their own hands. But the fact that Denmark's destiny is in their own hands makes Denmark very, very dangerous. But you don't want to write off the Aussies at all, man. You don't want to write them off. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I in the final predictions, I had Australia coming out of this group. I did, and it was just one of those superstitious picks.
So wait, you predicted France to get knocked out, huh?
I was foolish. I bought into the World Cup curse. I had Denmark and Australia, and I'll admit this right now, everyone's watching. Australia was my one pick in the entire group stages that I thought to myself, this is entirely a superstitious pick. It's just a gut feeling. I'm going with it. They might not advance. I still favor Denmark in that match. But if they come through, then it's just one of those weird things, It's just one of those weird things.
But, I had a gut feeling that France would break the champions' curse that they themselves started. And I think it had to be some type of Haitian voodoo that started this curse, you know what I'm saying? And France actually put together a delegate and went back to Haiti and said, hey, listen, man, I know here's some francs, you know what I mean? Take this, you know what I mean? And get that curse off because we can't humiliate ourselves like this. But look, put all jokes aside,
au revoir to the curse.
Indeed, man. Brilliant, man. France 2, Denmark 1. This was a really good game. I have to, bro. I came to the realization, and I had to admit that Kylian Mbappe. Listen, I know Messi did big things today. Forget Messi, bro. Forget Cristiano Ronaldo, bro. I'm telling you, this guy is on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
On a whole nother because Messi cannot run like Mbappe. No. Ronaldo cannot run like him.
No.
And when it comes to the dribbling ability of Mbappe, oh man, and he's clinical. He sniffs out. This guy's a winger as well.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? He's a forward, but he's primarily a winger, and he scores so many goals. I think he got 30 goals now for his country. And he's only 23. You know what I'm saying? Mbappe is only 23. We're going to have 10 more years of Mbappe. At least 10 more years. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine? I know we're thinking I don't want to think too far ahead, but can you imagine if this this kid is a 2-time World Cup winner at 23 years old.
Exactly. And the thing too, right? That's like Pele vibes, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
And the thing too, right? Mbappe has been around playing at these high levels since 2016, 17. And we're in 22, 23 right now. So he's, Mbappe scores the most goals in the French league every season. Just this kid is amazing, man. This kid is just amazing. And look, I remember when I first saw him back in 2017 when he was at Monaco. I first saw him. I was like, whoa, who is this Mbappe kid? You know what I mean? And they got that run to the semis of the Champions League that season, and then he went to PSG and for all that money, and then he just went to the World Cup, won the World Cup. You know what I mean? I think Mbappe is better than he was in 2018 as well, which is sick.
Yeah, for sure. He's really cultivated his game, and I think he's gotten more versatile as a player too. Because like you said, he can play operate as that winger. He can play as a forward. He's gotten very good at the aerial positions too. I mean, he scored that header he scored against Australia.
Exactly,
was phenomenal.
These goals today, man. These goals were good. Especially the second goal. Oh my God, Griezmann, man. Let's give some credit to Griezmann. You know what I mean? The first Mbappe goal, how he got it through those two Danish players, I don't even know. When you look, it was like Kasper Schmeichel was like looking through, and the ball came in. So kudos, man. But also credit to Denmark, because Denmark made it very difficult. Even though it was a very one-sided game, it was all France, but Denmark grew into the game afterwards. You see 21 shots by France, 7 on target, only 10 for Denmark, 2 on target. Those 10 shots most of them came in the second half, where they came close on a few occasions, kissed the post and all of that, forced Lloris into big saves. And, when Mbappe scored, okay, we got liftoff, but 7 minutes later, Andreas Christensen from a set piece. So you could see if you put the ball into the box, France has a little vulnerability there if you get the ball into the box, because I think one thing that they're still trying to figure out and they're still trying to settle is their defense.
For sure. And I think that the way they conceded in both this game and the last game, it'll give the other teams in this tournament that are watching this a little like a heads up, like, hey, they can
take them on. Them on.
They can still be had at. Like, But I will say, they deserve all the credit in the world for grinding these games out. And like you said, France were not struggling like they were this time 4 years ago when they were in the group stages. And another player we didn't mention that I want to give credit to, I thought Koundé was. Oh, I thought Koundé did well today at right back.
Yeah, and he was one of the changes as well. Koundé came in, Varane came in, for Konate and Pavard, and Theo Hernandez came in for his brother, who's picked up an ACL. I get to find out, which is terrible news. So that's it for him for the World Cup, But that team is just the squad is deep. The squad is so stacked up, man. So
yeah. Credit to Denmark though, because when they equalized, they were going for it. They didn't like say, okay, they were going for it, and for a few minutes they had me there. I was thinking they were gonna like steal this thing, but they could steal this thing.
When France scored, I was like, okay, France, okay. And then when Denmark scored, I was like, oh God, France just could not beat this team, man. What's going on? And then the goal that Mbappe scored, they made that happen, because look at the way Griezmann got that ball into the box. That was a devilish cross.
Yeah.
And Mbappe had to speed to that ball and get in front of it and put it in with his thighs. And if no other player gets to that ball, no other player gets there. You see what I mean?
No, they don't. Yeah, and Griezmann was such a hardworking attacking midfielder today. I mean, France got that covered. I mean, it remains to be seen how they'll perform if Griezmann and Mbappe get injured. But I can't think of any other team right now that has the same amount of depth as them as France. Maybe Brazil, but that's
Yeah.
just about it, man. Uh,
But the thing too, right? Do you just realize how fast Mbappe, he gets past everyone. Everyone, bro. There was a long ball that was played, and Mbappe was so fast he had to slow down and wait for the ball to drop. And then he smashed it into the goalkeeper, right? So I was impressed with the performance, and they've been struggling to beat Denmark for some time. Failed to beat them at the last World Cup, lost twice to them this year, and I just couldn't see them losing 3 times.
And maybe it is the Nations League that killed the World Cup curse, because what if France and Denmark don't play each other in those 2 competitive games earlier this year? So that almost served as like a preparation for France.
Yeah.
Okay, we failed twice. This is how we fucking put these guys away.
Yep.
That doesn't happen. Maybe they lose today. You never know.
So look, France in the round of 16, they break the champions curse. Do you think that France are actually going to rotate for the 3rd game there against Poland? Do you think so?
Tunisia, right?
Yeah, Tunisia. Why did
I
I say Poland? I don't know why.
I mean, I think I don't see a reason why not, because they should top this group, right? Even if Australia beats Denmark, they got a lot of ground to cover up to match France's goal differential. They both finish on 6 points if in the freak event that France loses to Tunisia. I think you have to rest up, because the odds that they don't finish first are very slim. And
Yeah.
you don't make any bets, you have to think that Argentina will get the job done.
Yeah, and
you rotate and rest players. That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, Australia needs a lot of goals to get, and Australia are the only team that could match France. So yeah, France will rotate. I think France actually rotates the whole team against Tunisia, which could help Tunisia.
Yeah.
Because remember, France did that at the last World Cup. I think what France is gonna do, right? Let's just, we're gonna land the plane, but let's just take a quick look. This is a nice little discussion. France is gonna actually give all these guys some game time. Guys like this Sassy, Wenduzi, Kolomwani is gonna be the striker, Fofana, Veritut, and Saliba, who hasn't seen any game time yet. He's gonna start. He's gonna get some time, and Eduardo Camavinga is gonna get some. Maybe 1 or 2 players might start again, but what they're gonna do, Mandanda is gonna get a half, and Alphonse Areola is gonna get a half, so that everyone gets a game at the World Cup. He will do. He did it the last time. Can't remember if every single person played, but he did that back in 2018. I think that was against Denmark. Where he switched it up because they had already beaten Peru and Australia, right?
Yeah, that's
so it was a similar situation. Do you think, bro? I've been thinking this team could go on to win the World Cup again.
Well, they can go on a very deep run. I just I don't know, man. That midfield eventually, if it comes up against like Brazil.
Bro, Brazil.
I don't know, man.
Bro, Brazil right now. You see Neymar's ankle?
That's true, but they said he's only going to be out for the group stages, right?
But that's what they say, bro. That ankle looked like he looked like a cow. You know what I'm saying? Like it just goes right down. Like he has no ankles or nothing. So
okay, that's bad then.
But look, yeah, it is bad. It is bad. But look, what we're gonna do, congrats to France. They become the first team to book a place in the round of 16, while Qatar are the first team to get eliminated and the only team so far eliminated. We're gonna see what's going on tomorrow. Let's talk tomorrow real quick. Japan, Costa Rica. What you got?
I have to root for CONCACAF, but Japan should win this match. I have 3-1. I think Costa Rica will get on the score sheet. I anticipate it'll come from a set piece. I have 3-1.
Same prediction.
Yeah, I think Japan.
I think that's what I have. Yep, 3-1. Belgium, Morocco.
Ooh, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 for Belgium. I think they're gonna have somewhat of another unconvincing win. They won't get dominated like they were against Canada. It'll be like one that they narrowly pull out. I think Morocco will get on the score sheet though. 2-1 Belgium.
2-0 Belgium, in my opinion. And with that being said, if Japan do beat Costa Rica, Japan would not per se be in the round of 16 yet, because in Group E, I think something crazy could happen where all the teams end up on 6 points except Costa Rica. Costa Rica will be out, but there's a situation. But I think with a win, Japan will be through. I think they will be through because
Most
we'll
likely.
get Look, Belgium are not conceded in my opinion because Courtois, he's just difficult to beat. You know what I mean? And that's a thing. That's a thing. Ask Liverpool if you don't believe me. So Croatia, Canada. Woo!
Oh, this is a rather tough one because if Belgium wins and if Croatia wins, Canada's out.
Yeah,
Uh,
this was a tough prediction for me to make too.
I I I think Canada can make this close, but something just tells me they're gonna drop off here and they're gonna come up against a team that will not they will not see as much of the ball against.
Yeah.
I could see Croatia actually like showing this experience and actually winning this comfortably, like 2 or 3-0.
I have 2-1 to Croatia. I was tempted to predict a draw for Canada of some sort, but remember, Croatia got to realize that if they draw this game,
They got Belgium next.
exactly, and you don't want to have Belgium next
No.
when Canada and Morocco play each other, because guess what?
Winner of that is favored to go through.
Croatia go into the Belgium game with 2 points, and then Canada and Morocco say, hey, Morocco, especially now with the point that they got, will say, hey, if we beat Canada, we're through. And Canada will be like, hey, if we beat Morocco, we're through. You know?
Which is interesting because that Belgium match is earlier in the day, and I was thinking about this. If Belgium beats Morocco, as they should, if you're Canada, if you're John Herdman, you're playing Croatia, and like it's like the 50th, 60th minute, and it's still all square. Do you think maybe they might try to go for that draw because it sets them up in a better position? I'm not saying, just like let Croatia have the ball and give up, but like, because you'd be much happier with the draw there if you're Canada.
Oh, so that you could look to beat Morocco in the final game.
Yeah, it's risky, but I'm saying as the game is winding down and there's no breakthrough.
Exactly.
You don't see no reason to leave yourself exposed, and playing that compact and counterattacking football is a lot of what Canada did in our qualifying game against the U.S. We played them in Ontario. You might remember.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Croatia has to win this match, in my opinion.
And the big one. What call did you make for this?
I want Germany to win just to give us a three-way battle in that final match day because you always root for chaos.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to sign their death warrant yet. I think it's going to be 1-1. I'm calling Spain's bluff. They haven't. Costa Rica is like a Sunday league team for Spain.
Yeah.
Like I think it's going to be a 1-1 because Germany's going to be fighting for survival. What about you?
I have 2-2 because if Germany does not win this game, they're pretty much like done because Japan are going to beat Costa Rica
earlier in the day.
Right? Yeah, I think that's going to happen, right? And then Spain, with their superior goal difference, even if they draw, Germany cannot surpass them unless Germany takes Costa Rica to the cleaners. And I don't even think that's going to happen because Costa Rica might become more dangerous as the tournament goes on as well, even they have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So,
and I'm glad you brought that up because Japan should beat them tomorrow, but we cannot rule out the possibility that Costa Rica play spoiled to Japan tomorrow if Japan fails to beat them. Like if Costa Rica shithouses a 0-0 draw, that is like Japan goes overnight from being heavy favorites to advance to like, you're probably not going to advance now.
Yep.
Because if Costa Rica gets something from Japan, they're not going to get something from Germany as well.
Indeed. So, look, just to touch on the games tomorrow, we do have games on Monday again. This seems never ending, where we would wrap up G and H, and then we have the third round of matches coming up again, where still everything to play for, man. You know what I mean? So it was a fun one. We went on a little longer, but it was necessary. It was necessary. You know what I mean? We have to discuss these things and get everything out because tomorrow we won't be talking about these things. We will be moving on.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And we, hopefully we have more big things to talk about tomorrow. I think we would. I think we would. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what the football gods have waiting for us tomorrow. So, look, thanks for joining me for another one again. You know what I mean? We've been working hard. So, guys, thanks for the continued support. Make sure you share the videos, make sure you leave comments, tell us how much of a good job we're doing and all. Link to both of our channels will be in respective descriptions, all that good stuff. Football Fair, take it away.
Thanks for having me on again. This is number 7. We're still not even halfway through. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. We still got many more good games to come as we wrap up the second match day in the next couple of days and head into that final phase of the group stages. You can find me over on Twitter, Football Pharaoh, at Soccer Pharaoh. That's at soccer_Pharaoh. Find me on my YouTube channel that will be linked in Dom's description. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Until then, as always, have a good one. Much love. Peace out.